I'm going to preface this with the meme that I saw that inspired what I'm going to talk about, because I'm probably going to post this on YouTube too. And since this is coming from the Instagram live, I'm going to quote it so people have context on what I'm talking about. So the meme I saw said something along the lines of high functioning depression is scary because no one knows that you're going through it. And even if you tell them, nobody cares because you don't present as falling off the deep end. I want to talk about the phrase high functioning in psychological circles, healing circles, whatever. There's no such thing as high functioning depression, high functioning anxiety, high functioning suicidality, whatever. High functioning mental illness or high functioning emotional illness is essentially a matrix illusion. And it's actually a way to bring pride and ego and a blanket over something so that a problem persists. I'm going to get into why that is. So when people say high functioning, I want to break down what's actually going on with that. When people diagnose themselves, or when a therapist diagnoses you as high functioning, it means that your behavior is high functioning in comparison to somebody who is suffering from something mental or emotional that inhibits their behavior. Now, on the surface, we think that that's a good thing. And to a degree, it is. It absolutely is. Because it could be worse in the sense that you physically have no more control of yourself, because that is the last frontier of your plane of control. Before everything falls apart. So there is a layer of truth to it. I don't want to misconstrue anything. There is a layer of truth to calling yourself high functioning when you're dealing with something. But the huge lie behind it is that this is somehow better, or that you're in a better position, when you're really just in a different type of struggle that can actually be more sinister and can actually be more dangerous. Like the meme says, it's scary and it's terrifying. And I'm going to get into why and talk about authenticity and honesty being the only remedy for it. Now, in my case, being high functioning paid off in the sense where I had to hold down all of my jobs. I had to hold down my housing, even though there was a time where I was homeless for a month and a half living out of my car. And there was another time, 2 other times actually, I came very close to being homeless because I was going through so much chaos that I couldn't keep things in my reality controlled to any degree. Now, when we say high functioning, you have your emotional plane, your mental plane, and the 3D plane of behavior. The only thing that people truly mean, if you want to break this down spiritually, when people call you high functioning, it means that even though your mental and emotional plane are erratic and chaotic and you've lost control there, you're still exhibiting behavior that is socially acceptable or indicates that you are of health. Now, what this is inauthenticity, which is actually very dangerous and potentially more dangerous than if you were to be honestly falling apart in front of people's faces. And I've learned this lesson 2 very specific ways. One, watching the polar opposites of my brother completely going off the deep end and being very direct and upfront with what was going on with him from our household struggles, and me kind of sitting in the background of this, having to be the high functional one. And one thing I can tell you guys is that I don't want to call it a downfall because that sounds so doom and gloom, and now that I'm on the other side of it, there's nothing that's doomy and gloomy or a downfall about it, but I'm going to use that terminology because I can't find a word substitute. Your downfall just comes later. All you're doing is postponing the inevitable. And that's where the healing truly begins, is actually when you give up the high functioning thing. But let me tell you guys why this is so dangerous before I get off on the healing tangent. So when you call yourself high functioning, what you're actually doing is calling yourself a liar and calling yourself a masker of your symptoms. This would be the equivalent if you were going around with cancer, and people actually do this, but the people around them know they have cancer, right? But it's as if you were to lie to even your closest relatives that I do not have cancer, I am healthy, and you wear a wig and you draw your eyebrows on every day and you smile at people, and then you take painkillers, and then you say, oh, I'm not sick, I'm healthy.